Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today. So hey, if you're new to the channel, I want to thank you for watching and welcome you to my home in North Carolina. Let me give you a quick tour and show you around so that you're familiar with what's going on. Now my complete total property size is about 1 acre, and this right here around my house is what I call my yard. It's the part of the property that I really like to go above and beyond, really make it stand out, really make it look good. This right here is a mixture of, it's about 85% turf type tall fescue and 15% Kentucky bluegrass. Now this back here is what I call my test plot, okay? It's around 10 to 12,000 square foot, including the little bit over on the side and the little bit in the back. But the actual tall fescue part's around 10,000 square feet. It's 100% turf type tall fescue. So right here's my garden. It's right in front of my shed back here, and it's where I like to plant my veggies and that kind of thing. And I do a little bit of gardening videos, not a whole lot, but I do enjoy this, planting my own food and growing my own food. Now this little portion of grass right here, it's about, I don't know how long it is, but maybe 15 foot wide or so. And it kind of follows the edge of my property line straight down. And this little strip right here is part of what I call the test plot. Although you don't see this a lot, but it's a little strip of grass right here that is also turf type tall fescue. Now back there in the back's where I got the Kentucky bluegrass right behind the building. Kind of a little bit of an experimental thing I've done for a year or so now back there. The test plot itself this year in 2020 is going to become 100% Kentucky bluegrass. So I'll have fescue bluegrass in my yard, and I'll have 100% Kentucky bluegrass back here in the test plot. Of course, I'll show you the process from start to finish. We're going to kill it off, level it up really good, probably laser grade it, install irrigation, and show you the planting process of the GCI Turf Blue Heat, which is Kentucky bluegrass. We'll show you all that back here when we get to it. This right here is my next door neighbor's yard, and about 2 years ago, may have been a little bit longer, I took on her yard to kind of be obedient to the Lord, as in love your neighbor, love yourself, or love your neighbor just like you love yourself. And so for about 2 years now, I've pretty much maintained this turf back here and really taking it from something that was not all that pretty or not all that appealing to the eye, and it's become a really nice stand of grass now. And with that said, this is going to kind of be the year that I give it back to her and let her take over, back over, because I'm getting a little bit more busy. I've got a renovation back here with the test plot, and I've got a renovation at my shop where we're converting over to Bermuda grass. So I don't have a lot of extra time. I feel like I've done my part over here, and I've loved her quite a bit with her yard, and I'm gonna let her take it back over. So if you're new, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. I want to encourage you to get on my email list. I'm a giver. I like to give. I've been very blessed with things in life, and I like to return that favor. Last year we had a huge giveaway, a Y Bravo mower, a backpack blower, a string trimmer, biostimulant pack, a battery powered Strom sprayer, all kind of things, and we give it to this fella out in Nevada won, and I was just tickled me to death to be able to give that to him. So I figured we'd start the new year off right, okay? So here we are in January, February, March 2020. On May 1st, I'm gonna do another giveaway. I'm gonna give away 5 of the Strom battery powered sprayers that we sell on our GCI Turf Academy site. The way you can get entered into that is, number 1, you got to be a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Number 2, there's a second thing you got to do. You got to be on my email list. Well, why in the world do you have to be on the email list? It used to be back in the day, I could message someone through YouTube, like a private message, and say, hey, you won. Well, I can't do that no more. And if you can, I don't know how to do it. So I need to have a way to contact you. So the email is the way I'll contact you if you win. And don't worry, I know a lot of folks get your email and sell it or whatever and give it away and blast you with emails every other day, but I don't do that. We do send out some emails with some information and a little bit of marketing, that kind of thing. but by no means do we pound you over the head with emails day in and day out. So hey, be sure you hook up with me on both of those, subscribe to the channel, sign up for the email list. They're both in the description, and you might win one of those 5 sprayers I'm gonna give away. Now look, different turf types perform differently at different heights of cut, okay? For years, ever since I've been doing this YouTube thing, and even before that, I've always cut my turf type tall fescue tall. It's called tall fescue for a reason, right? So what that has typically looked like is usually my first mow of the year on my yard, and even back here, is I will cut around 3.5 inches. And that's me telling the turf, hey, I'm ready for you to wake up. I'm ready for you to start growing. I would typically mow like that maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden, I'm gonna raise my deck up to 4 inches. I might mow it 4 inches 1 or 2 times maybe. And then right about middle of April, as we're starting to get a little bit warmer, I wanna go ahead and start mowing at 4.5 inches and let that turf get up tall and thick. Now I realize not everybody's mower is going to cut at a true 4.5 inches, and that's kind of unfortunate, and there's nothing I can do about that. Only you can change that by getting a mower that will allow you to cut that high. And one thing I've always heard, I've always kind of caught this comment from time to time is, hey, when I try and mow my grass that high, it wants to lay over and flop over and, you know, that kind of thing. Well, my yard is basically full sun. It does get some shade in the afternoon. This does get some shade in the afternoon as well. I've been cutting it at 4.5 inches for years, and it stands up nice and perky and straight. It doesn't lay over on itself or nothing like that. It's a very thick, dense turf that stands up nice and erect, and I've just never had that problem. And of course, that is GCI turf grass seed. I don't know if the seed has something to do with it, or I really don't understand why that actually happens, why the turf lays over on itself. It's like it's not strong enough to hold itself up, but I've never had that issue. Now another cool season turf is Kentucky bluegrass, and you know I'm starting to become a fan of that. Matter of fact, I'm liking it so much that this is going to be Kentucky bluegrass back here this year, the whole thing. Now that's a different ball game. I can go really, really low, or I can cut it a little bit longer, 3.5 inches. Now another turf type that I'm a little bit of a fan of is Bermuda grass. I know a lot of people fight Bermuda in their yard, and they hate it and they despise it, and hey, I get it. You ain't telling me nothing. When it's in my yard, it is the devil. It is the enemy, and I do not want it in my yard. That's why I'm planting it at the shop. So that I can actually get the enjoyment of maintaining some Bermuda and show you some videos on it. Now Bermuda's a little bit different too. You can actually take it down super low, really, really low. And then of course, I've seen yards maintained at 3.5 inches with Bermuda, and they look just fine. Now what I don't want you to do is get stuck that this grass type has to be mowed this way, okay? Because there's several different ways you can mow several different grass types. And the way you dictate that is the way you maintain it, okay, tells you how you can cut the grass. Typically, you know, cool season turf's going to require water, especially during the summertime. It is what it is. And of course, warm season does as well, more so cool season. And by cutting that cool season turf high or tall, you do a lot of things. Number one, you increase photosynthesis big time. The more leaf blade you have showing, the more photosynthesis can happen, and it can create that energy for the plant to, you know, survive better. Another big deal about cutting turf grass tall is you shade the ground, okay? It's like, imagine me standing out in the full-blown sun with nothing over my head, I'm gonna get hot. Well, if I hold an umbrella over my head and I'm shaded from that direct sun, I'm not going to be as hot. And your grass kind of acts like an umbrella to the soil and helps keep it shaded a little bit, keeps it from drying out quicker, it holds moisture longer, and it actually keeps it cooler too. So there's lots of advantages for cutting tall fescue tall. I've kind of made my living on taking non-irrigated tall fescue turf and getting it through a summer with the way we treat the turf, and with the way we mow the turf. If you're interested in the way I treat the turf, I've got a cool season guide. I'll link it up in the description. It's step-by-step process. Tells you every single thing you need to know, when to do it, what to do it, how much to use of it, the whole 9 yards. Now, most all mowers, you're going to have some type of a reading, gauge, setting, cutting height and adjustment right here. Of course, my sticker's a little bit jacked up. And right here, it corresponds with these pins right here in the mower. So if I wanted to lower the deck, I would pull these pins and drop the deck out and reinstall it. The problem with these is a lot of the times they're just not accurate. Do not trust it. I don't care what your mower is, don't trust that if on the side of your mower it says setting number 4, that does not mean you're mowing at 4 inches. I prefer to come down here and take a physical measurement, meaning the mower is on a flat, even surface. I've got the deck set at where I want to cut, and I take a ruler like this and measure it, and you can see I'm right dead on 3.5 inches. Now, with all that said, I've always cut my yard at 4 to 4.5 inches, especially during the summertime. I'm trying something new this year. Okay, you know, I've caught the reel mowing bug, so I'm going to attempt to reel mow my yard right around my house at 2 inches. 2 inches. Turf type tall fescue, bluegrass mix all year long. Now, is it going to work? I have no idea. I do have irrigation, so I can water as I need to. It is on a very strong fertility program. In that cool season guide, you get 3 options: a Carbonex, a Higher Bricks, or Green County program that you get to pick from. And I'm running the Green County on my yard, which is 100% liquid all year. I'm doing that so I can manage the growth a little bit more, all while I'm working on my dirt and getting my dirt right. So I think I can pull it off. Only time's going to tell, right? And hey, if I don't pull it off, it's no skin off my back. I know a guy that can fix it pretty quickly. So that's another cool thing with me. If I fail, if I screw up, I don't mind showing you my failure. It does not bother me one bit. I've been a failure all my life in a lot of different areas, and I honestly don't mind sharing that with you, simply because it'll help folks learn down the road. One thing I don't want you to do, if you've always followed me from my tall fescue advice, what I don't want you to do is attempt this, okay? Well, I mean, it's your yard, you do what the heck you want to do to it, but I would much rather see you continue cutting it 4 to 4.5 inches and let me be a guinea pig this year, and then you can figure out what you want to do next year. So this was my takedown cut, okay? It was sitting around 3 inches maybe. I took it down to 2. I've been cutting it down to 2.5, and I don't know if you can see the haze of grass clippings all over the yard. Look at this. That's just in that one little spot. So obviously I can't leave it like this. It would be detrimental to the yard. So I'm gonna put my bagging system on, run back over it, collect these clippings up, clean it up real good, and she'll be good to go. Now, the GCI Turf Tall Fescue, I'm not at all concerned about stressing it out by taking it down a little bit more than I probably originally planned. We're in springtime, or almost in spring, and she will pop back like a champion. But I do not want to leave those grass clippings on the yard. That's a definite. Now, just so I'm clear about this, no, I typically do not bag my clippings, okay? I discharge everything because I want to return those nutrients to the ground. Inside the grass blade itself, inside the plant stores nutrients, water, blah, 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 and it's good to return that. But when the clippings are this heavy and this dense on the yard, I definitely want to get that gone. That's nice and tight right there. All right, so there you go. It ended up looking really good. Went back over the yard with the bagger and collected all that yuck, and she's nice and tight now. Look, I know some of you thinking, hey, where's all those big bold stripes at that you normally put in the yard? Well, it ain't quite that time of the year yet. The spring flush hadn't really happened. So it's striping up okay. And of course, I don't have the roller on the mower right now. And that roller, what that is, it's a roller that goes behind the mower, any mower, and it will enhance the striped effect of the yard. And yes, I still have that coupon code for Big League Lawns. I'll put that in the description as well. Now, I'll just be completely honest with you, I really don't want no stripes in the yard right now because my Allet mower will probably be here maybe by the time you're watching this video, about a week from right now when it's being filmed. And you guys saw what that thing did at my shop, how it striped. So I kind of want a fresh, no stripe yard when I mow the first time with it. And in that way I can give you a really cool video on striping, and those lines will pop extra hard. So thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your day and checking this out. And we got a lot of yard stuff to do this year. I mean, we have a lot of yard work to do this year. So again, be sure and sign up for that giveaway I'm gonna have May 1st. That'll be a big deal, and that is gonna be 5 different winners, not just one. It'll be 5 different winners. Each person will get one of those backpack sprayers. Thank you again for watching. I'll check you later.